In a blacksmith shop, there are lots of things that absolutely love oil and grease. Things like the rails on your hydraulic press or on a fly press, the threads on your vise, even the pivot points on a treadle hammer. But there is one thing in the shop that is particularly greasy and oily, and that would be a power hammer, particularly these old mechanical hammers. These things live on oil and grease, and they need to be oiled every single time you use it. My name's John Switzer. Welcome back to Black Bear Forge. Now this hammer has been accumulating oil and grease on it the entire time I've owned it. It had been freshly rebuilt shortly before I bought it and looked pretty good back then. But over the years, it really starts to pile up and it gets pretty nasty. And it is hard and dry. I don't even think I call it oil anymore. It's more like asphalt at this point with all the shop dust and everything else in it. And while that stuff doesn't hurt the hammer, as long as you got fresh oil in the moving parts, it looks bad. And I've always thought it'd be nice to clean it, but I don't want to take this 900-pound hammer, load it in the back of a pickup truck, and haul it off to a car wash. So when the folks at Zepp, the makers of Industrial Purple, a pretty popular degreaser, contacted me and told me they had a new stronger formula and asked if I'd like to try it out, I said I would be more than happy to try it out. And I would like to thank Zepp not only for sending out the Industrial Purple for me to try out, but they are also the sponsors of today's video. I haven't actually tried this out yet. I don't know if it's going to tackle this grease, but because it is so old and hard and dry, it's probably about the most extreme test I could put to this cleaner, and pressure washing might really be the only way to go. But they sent this out, and we're going to see if it'll do the job. Admittedly, I have not tried the original formula for the Industrial Purple, but since this one is 25% stronger, if anything's going to work on that hammer, this is probably the stuff. Like most things, it probably actually pays to read the instructions, so let's take a quick look here. It says, industrial settings create industrial levels of grease on machinery and surfaces. Pros know that powerful solvents in Industrial Purple degreaser destroy grease with low foaming, easy to rinse formula. For use on heavy machinery, got that, engine parts, construction equipment, fiberglass, unfinished concrete, masonry, and asphalt. Not for use on painted surfaces, we'll talk about that in a minute, aluminum, brass, chrome, copper, marble, slate, granite, natural stone, wood, or other alkaline sensitive surfaces. Now the power hammer has paint on it. In fact, just about everything that I might want to clean with this has had paint on it at some point in time or another. So I'm going to kind of take my chances. I'm going against the instructions. If I strip the paint, that's my fault, not Zepp's fault. But I think if I clean it and then get it rinsed with water real quick, so I've got a 5-gallon bucket of water and some clean rags that I can use for rinsing and scrubbing this back off afterwards. So I'm not recommending you use it on painted surfaces, but I really would like to see that little giant green come back to life on that hammer. So I'm going to give it a go. Just remember, you're kind of on your own if you decide to do that. Now, this is a concentrated formula, so you're going to need to mix it. And I've got a spray bottle, also from Zepp, that I'm going to go ahead and mix this in. And it has a range of mixes depending on what you're going to do with it. It says heavy soils dilute 20 fluid ounces per gallon of water. Light soils dilute 5 fluid ounces per gallon of water. Now I'm pretty sure that power hammer is at least heavy duty grime, so I'm going to go for the 20 ounces per gallon. The spray bottle is a little bit bigger than 1 quart, and that means that's 1/4 of a gallon, so I can use 1/4 of the 20 ounces or 5 ounces in a quart for the spray bottle. And I have a little dedicated measuring cup that I just keep in the shop for doing stuff like this. So that's up to the 32-ounce line. And I'll make a little comment on Zepp sprayers. I have used those before when we were building the log house and doing chinking. You needed a water source constantly to mist the chinking before you troweled it in. And the only sprayers we ever found that actually held up to the task and lasted week after week were the ones by Zepp. All the cheap ones we found failed and we had to throw them out. So we searched these things out real hard. And sometimes they're hard to come by. I think Home Depot is the only place we ever found selling the Zepp sprayers. Spray or apply to surface with mop or brush. Allow contact for time of 3 to 5 minutes. Rinse thoroughly and allow to dry. Second application may be required for some soils. Do not allow product to dry on surface before rinsing. Well, it's been hot and dry here, so I may actually have to mist this with the sprayer a little bit throughout that 5-minute period just to keep it from drying, but we'll see what happens. So let's go back over to that power hammer. Let's give it a try. Now this clean spot down here at the bottom of the hammer, that's where my foot rubs when I'm working under it. So it hasn't been previously cleaned, it's just rubbed clean from my shoes. I can already see it taking some grease off where I've squirted it there. I'm going to be kind of aggressive with it. I'm just going to do that much for now. And I'm going to check 5 minutes and we'll be back. And if it starts to dry out, I'll just give it a little bit more of a spritz here. Set that to a lighter coat. So I'm going to go ahead and use some water and a scrub brush, and let's see if this is starting to remove any of the grease and the grime, and hopefully not the paint. And it is definitely starting to take some of the grease off, but it is not just falling right off, which is kind of what I expected. I didn't expect this to happen without some elbow grease. But it is working, and it's not taking the paint off. I think we'll give it another application. I'm going to scrub on this a while, and then I'm going to let you see what the final results are. All in all, I'm really very impressed. I wasn't sure this would touch the grease and the grime on this hammer, but it did a very good job. I did take a little bit of paint off in a few places, but it's hard to say if I took it off with the Zep cleaner or if it's from previous bumps and bangs in the shop, because stuff like this gets banged into all the time. It's been moved from one shop to another several times and wrapped up with chains to haul it and lift it and all that kind of stuff. So maybe that's where the paint came off. Maybe I took a little off today. Again, me using this on a painted surface was taking my chances. They don't recommend it. The fact that it took all that really cool vintage grease off of here, pretty darn impressive in my book. So I'm pretty glad that it did that. I still have more to do. I just did the front. That was about a half an hour's worth of work. Probably 4 applications of the Zep degreaser. And hindsight being 20/20, like it so often is, if I had one of those little plastic putty knives, the kind of cheap ones, and scraped all of that off, I think that wouldn't have hurt the paint. A metal putty knife would probably hurt the paint. But a cheap plastic putty knife, scrape all the built up goo off first, probably would have saved me a whole lot of work, and it would have been a whole lot easier to do this. The next thing is to re-oil this. I'm sure I got some of that down in the moving parts. So I want to make sure I got fresh oil, fresh grease everywhere it needs it. I'll have more work to do on this. I'll have more work to do on some other things in the shop. If you follow my shop page on Instagram or Facebook, I think I'll show some more images or little short video clips showing some other things that I've cleaned, because there's lots of greasy stuff in the shop. This works well enough, I might as well try it out on some of that stuff too. Now Zep was kind enough to send out 2 gallons of the concentrate, and this is going to make a whole lot of cleaner. I don't think I need 2 gallons around here. So if you would like to win the extra gallon, in the US only, I'm not going to ship a gallon jug of liquid internationally, but if you're in the United States and you'd like to win a gallon of this, just make a comment down in the comment section and say, I need purple. Just something that I can go search for, because I can type a search term in and look for I need purple. And then I will do a random comment selection of anybody that used that in their comment. I'll also see if I can find some links on where you can actually order this from. If you don't win the drawing, you can order some yourself, and I'll see if I can find those. Put those down in the video description where I usually put the links. But that's really all I've got for today. Just a quick test of this, see what it'll do, and see what the potential is in a blacksmith shop, because I'm sure they weren't thinking of blacksmiths when they made this stuff. I do hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, give it a thumbs up. If you haven't done so already, I would love it if you hit that subscribe button down there. Feel free to stick around, watch a few of the other videos, share the videos with your friends. Then by all means, make time in your day to get out to your shop. Make something, but stay safe, wear your safety glasses. We'll see you for the next one.